The intraday range right now is at 13. Now it dropped to 10. It was 15. And it's got to hold half of that bar during this bottoming process. So basically, that's the intraday range in the video. It was at 15. Here's half of that bar. Half of that bar is 76 cents. Okay? So basically, off of the bottom, we're 72 by 75 up here in the bid and ask. We would like to see it hold half of this bar. This bar is not final. And we're below 10 here. So we know that when we went up here on the intraday range to 16, but then when we fell below 15 here, we've come down in this bottom. Okay? Here on Dendrion, once again, folks, when I click on that in this info panel, right here, it's telling me 78 cents is half of that bar. Right here. So that's the info panel. That's the mathematical part that that bar has to hold to have a strong trend. And that's this bar. Okay, half of that bar is 78 cents. And right now, this bar right here just so happens to be 1 penny above it. Right here. And 80 cents. So it's 1 penny above half of that bar right there. We need to build, and we need to build north of 25 here. Okay, we got the bottom, finally got the bottom, 0, 0, 0 right here as well in the intraday range. It's written right there, 0, and 2 falling zeros put in the bottom, and we took out half of that bar. But now we got to stay closing bell above half of this bar here. That's this bar. And that bar happens to be at 76 pennies. 42.76 down here in the info panel, folks, for the MMTs that are using it. Another thing is in the black box here is that your bid and ask trend ratio has to keep going higher in value in order for the 3-minute price to go higher. So you know that your bid and ask ratio, that's this one right here, you can see it in this part of the info panel, that's got to go higher in value, and this goes higher in value. When the intraday range here goes above 20 toward 25, you'll see the bars go higher. We're waiting on it. If we can consolidate 15 and hold that in here, we're trying to put in a bottom here. We confirmed a 0 to 5, finally, not 0 falling and 0 falling. You can't confirm these kinds of bottoms. Here, you got to 0, and that was at 6. That's 0 to 5. That's when you start confirming it. Intraday range has got to climb higher in price. You've got to stay above half of that bar, which we know. Here's half of that bar there. And the previous half bar, we know exactly at 79 cents. And basically, you're at 80 by 83 cents in the bid and ask. And all of these things have to go that way to confirm that bottom. Never buy a bottom. That's a 0, and it falls through the 3-minute, and it continues to fall, meaning that you never bounce from 0 to 5. That's a 0 confirmation. You've got to come down here. You stayed 0 here. You also stayed 0 here. You never did bounce in 6 minutes. It wasn't until here that you confirmed that intraday there at 6. Then you went up, and now you've come down in this bottom, and that's how you confirm a bottom. 0 to 6, not 0 to 0. Just so the new MMTs understand price mechanism control at the lines there. And we need to go north. Nope, we can't go below 15. Below 15, we kind of tick down. We're at 14 right there. SMF, we have only been open now for 2 hours in the market, and we've been watching that 1150 put up here on the S&P. And basically, we're just monitoring the both sides of the market. As everyone knows, we still have the 1130 calls that we bought up and out of the money for volatility. What we're really going to be talking about is doing a weekly chart as well. SMF Street Trader, we just wanted to show you what a monthly view of that 1150 put in the money on the S&P is. It was 103 some odd dollars up here. Well, actually it was $132, I'm sorry. the high of that bar, that weekly bar. Let's take a look. This opened right here at 104.25. 105.15 was the high of that bar. The low of this current bar is 23.95 on the day on that 1150 put. The actual put option right here, right now, last print, they closed at that 24.80 handle. There's been 2,800 contracts traded, but you can see clearly where that last print was relative to that low. So basically what I'm going to do right here, SMF Street, is I'm going to go ahead and get down below the market right here in case we get any volatile pops. And I'm going to start my bids right here at 18.70. Okay. The high was $27. The close was $24.80. I'm going to bid total volume. I'm going to put the bid out here. I'm going to bid 3 right there. Okay. And that's also going into resistance. And it tells me what that order is. And I'm going to try to scale it. It tells me that the bull trend is very strong, but the bull trend is going to weaken somewhere. And I've got that order, which is quite wholesale below the market. That's the 1150 put option. I'm going to do a weekly chart. Right here, SMF Street, is that we have the S&P 500 weekly chart. So what I'm going to do, it's a weekly chart, and each one of these weekly moves is, well, for today, it's $18.29 is a full move on the S&P. You already know that, but we're not burning at that rate. What I am going to do is I'm going to go up over here. I'm going to hit 10 deltas, and it just populated the lines on the chart. As people seen it, it populated the lines. The MMTs don't have to do anything. Now, what the MMTs will have to do is start looking at the analysis of where these weekly ranges are, where the downtrend started. We're at a major point of resistance in our platform, okay, and this is half of that bar right here. So let's scroll down. It'll tell us what it is. It populates it automatically. Here it is. Whoops, I'm sorry. There it is right here. It's in the video. And the thing about it is, it's a weekly chart, and that's a weekly half bar. That upper end of that bar, I just want people to know, is that 1200.71. That is truly the upper end of this whole cycle move, would be half of this bar. Right now, we have a very good double right, first right breakout, pullback, second right. That is a bull trend in progress. Everything is looking good for the bulls. It's FOMC meeting today. However, what's going to end up happening is that we haven't bought any shorts yet. We're trying to get that wholesale market. And basically, we'll be talking more about that. And we're running right here where we should be on this weekly chart. And these are the mathematical lines. Each one of these particular lines is 18.29. But they change every day in our system. So that's the bullish part of that trend. But we're getting a little bit extended on the weekly. Now we just want to keep this weekly bar in mind right here. And half of that weekly bar, the top of that bar was right up here. So we're approaching this area right in here. And if we break above it, then that bull move will continue to go higher. If we fell, then that bull move will be weakening. I'm going to conclude the video here on that 1150 put. I have priced that 1150 put out in the marketplace at the right price. I'm down. I showed everyone. I already put the limit at 1870. I'm well below the market. Just in case we want to break up, we're having a short-term bull pullback. There's no real selling, and once again, it's FOMC meeting day.